task manager. So first of all, who in this room know what is the task manager? You have already heard about this. Who have already used the task manager to map some areas of the world? Many of you. So I won't present what the task manager is. I will show you what it has, where it comes from, what I did for the project.
Could you use a microphone? It's on the, yeah. Thanks.
So I will, does it work?
Yeah.
I will show you why it begins, and where it is going. So I will show you the history of the task manager. I rolled a bit and I searched in my mailing to find the different stages of the history of the task manager. Actually, I'm the main developer of the task manager. I'm a bit alone. I would like more people to get involved, and I would like more contributions on the code. So currently, I think I'm the only one who knows the history of the task manager best. You can go on. So first of all, I'm from France. You might have noticed with my accent. I like hiking, skiing, cycling, coding, and a bit of mapping. Actually, I'm not. I do not a lot of mapping for HOT. I try to concentrate on the tasking manager coding. This is where I live, actually. I'm currently employed at Camp2Camp. Some of you may know this company. We work in open source software, and we contribute to projects like Open Layers, that a project that you may know. What I like to do when mapping is for my own purpose. I like to go hiking in the mountains, and I like to map the guideposts. I'm a contributor in OpenStreetMap since 2008. And for HOT, I'm a contributor since 2011, when I started to work on the task manager, and I'm a voting member since 2012. So here's the history of the task manager. It's a bit summarized, but I tried to extract the main dates and the main events. So before the task manager, there was something that was called OSM QA. I don't know if some of you have already heard about this project. It was written with one of my friend and colleague, François, and it was the QA is for quality assurance. So it was looking like this. Next slide. This project was meant to know the accuracy of the information in the OSM database for given areas. For example, here, the green squares are meant to be completed in totality for buildings, and the gray ones were the areas where we have completed information, for example, roads or other tags. So this project was meant to know where the OpenStreetMap data is completed or not. This project doesn't work anymore. You can go to the page, but you will have an empty map actually. Some of the OSM contributors used it everywhere in the world. So in Japan they used it a lot. in France as well, but it's not well-known project. So the history of the task manager started actually in May 2011. We received, François and I, a mail from Kate. She saw the quality assurance mapping tool, and she asked us if we were interested in developing a tool to have coordination of the mappers and surveyors, particularly in Indonesia. This is the content of her mail, and she was asking for a tool to help workers to know where they have to work on, where they have to map. She asked us because she saw this OSMQA project tool, and she thought in her mind that it was the same idea. Divide an area into small cells in a grid, and she asked us if OSMQA was the answer for what she wanted to do. I said no, because the scope was a bit too different. So in July 2011, there was a contract signed between HOT and Cam2Cam to build this tasking tool. The initial set of features was this one. So there were intended to be, what was expected was to have a page to create what we were calling jobs at that time, to divide the area into square tiles, to let people authenticate using the OSM authentication, and also to have the availability to lock tiles, to say I'm working on this specific cell. And also we were already talking about validation at that time. The technology I used to work on this project was the Pyramid framework with the Python framework, and also I was using SQLite database. The SQLite database I chose this particular database manager because it was simple. It was using only one file, so it was easy to move from one server to another one. I didn't want to have difficulty to install this, and SQLite was simple. In September 2011, the project was delivered. So we already, in September, we already had something that was working, and that something that was already useful and could be used in a real project. But I thought at that time that it was not finished. So I decided to continue working on this tool on my own in using my free time. I received help also from Skylar, and we added those features. Skylar helped me to have the ability to restrict the access to some jobs, so that only a few mappers can have access to some jobs. We added the license agreements, the imagery license agreements, so that we ensure that people sign the agreement before they can use the imagery to trace the OpenStreetMap data. I added a feature to get the percentage of completion of each job. I also added the stats chart and a lot of different additions or fixes, bug fixes. So I did it all this stuff on my own, because I was thinking that this was a great tool, and it needed more work. In October 2012, the code was moved to GitHub. It was already on GitHub, but HOT decided that it needed to be on the main repository on GitHub, on the HOT repository on GitHub. And then I was, so it continued to evolve for several months, and in September 2013, I decided that it needed some fresh code because there was some of the code that I was not happy with. So during the HOT week, which was just 1 week before the first 4G conference in Birmingham, some of the hotties went to Birmingham and was together in a house to work on HOT things. I was not able to attend this HOT week, but I decided to take holidays, 1 week of holiday, to work on the tasking manager and to see if I was able to create a new version of the tasking manager with a lot of new stuff and better code. So I restarted from scratch, and at the end of the week, I was already able to add a lot of features to the existing code. So I copy-pasted actually a lot of code from the V1, and I adapted to a new structure. So I continued to use Pyramid, but I changed the database to PostgreSQL and PostGIS. These were the main goals I tried to reach. I wanted a better data model. I wanted to have PostGIS support because SQLite was too restrictive. I wanted to add also the internationalization and language support because it was asked both for the interface and for the instructions. And I also wanted a different layout with a bigger maps because in the V1 the map was really small. I also wanted to add a read-only access. In the V1 you needed to log in on the OpenStreetMap website before you could see what the tasking manager was, and it was, I think, a bottleneck. In the V2 now, even if you're new to OpenStreetMap and you hear about the tasking manager, you can go there and see what it's all about. I wanted to improve the workflow, improve the UI in order to have a more usable interface. There's a lot to do, but I think it was improved between V1 and V2. And I also wanted to have improved performances because in the V1 we had several crashes of the task manager, mostly because the project or job managers were creating too big jobs and with too many files. Next one, please. So late 2013, I received mails from universities in the US, the George Washington University. I don't know if there are people here. Asking me if it was possible to add new features in the tasking manager in order to help the educators and the students to use the tasking manager in a educational context. Here are the requirements. So they wanted to have tasks, assignments, also a system to rate the tasks. I don't think it's really used, this one. No, it's not. And they also wanted to know that their instance is really different from the HOT one. So we had to did some customization in the interface, like colors or logos. During spring 2014, there were a consortium built up which funded the project and defined the scope more closely. These were the founders and the members of the consortium. So we got credits and once again, Chem to Chem got a contract to work on those new features. But yes, first things first, because the V2 wasn't existing at that time, my first goal was to finish V2. So they accepted to pay the amount of code, they accepted to pay to get the same features as in V1 in this V2. I added more unit tests to this code, and then I added the new features. And then in May, June 2014, the V2 was released. So it was a long birth. But I think it was a great success. I think Pierre Bellan wouldn't agree because it was during the Ebola crisis, and sometimes he was really angry against this release. But I think it was okay, and it was really better. I think in terms of UI and performance. So next one. And I would like to talk about where we are now. So we are in current version 2.10. We have a release frequency which is not really fixed. Yeah, thank you. I try to release as often as possible, but there's no real, we don't have any strict rule to know when we want to do the release. So I do it when I think that there is enough code to get released. We have more than 1,000 projects, and when I say 1,000 projects, it's 1,000 projects created and mapped. I don't have the numbers, but I think most of the projects are 80% completed, which is really great. I thought that maybe many projects are not completed at all, but it's not the case. They are completed at 80 or 90%. We have more than 21,000 contributors. It was 15,000 2 weeks ago when I started preparing this presentation. It was 10,000 in October 2014. So it continues to grow, and it grew up a lot with the Nepal crisis. I would like to show you that some are talking about the task manager. So we have MapGive with a video showing how to use the task manager. we have missing maps, of course. We have, yes, the universities. It's you. And they also talk about this in Twitter and Facebook. What maybe you don't know is that the Task Manager is open source and that you can host your own instance. Some of the contributors or users have their own instance. So here are the instances I got from Google. Some are still using the V1. I know that OpenStreetMap.us is trying to migrate to V2. And so if you want to use your own version of the Task Manager, you can do. You're not tied to the HOT1. So now the future, maybe you are here to know what's the future of the Task Manager. The answer is, I don't know. It depends on how much time I can use to continue the coding, or how much money we can get, or how much contributors to the code can help me. I know there are contributors in submitting pull requests, and I thank them all. So the future for me, here are some suggestions I have in my mind. What's missing, I think, the most is the messaging system. It would be great to have something that can help people chatting about a specific task and instantly. Also, the notification system works, I think, but it could be better. Also, and it is subject of many mails actually currently in the mailing list. The validation is currently a problem because beginners can validate tasks, and contributors can validate their own tasks. So this is something that we have to work on. Also, it should be, the homepage should be improved. And we can probably group the projects by program or activation so that people land on the page where they know that there's something about Nepal, there's something about Ebola and Indonesia or something, and that they don't have this list of projects and they don't know where to start. Can you go back? There were an internship this winter to work on this, but we didn't reach the goal. We had an intern with which the communication was not great, and she did some work, but it cannot be released yet. So I tried to work on this and try to continue the work, or if someone wants to help, he's or she's welcome. And here are some other things that I have in mind. I think that, for example, when we have a project and we want to map an area, and then we decide, or the project manager decides that this area is too small and wants to extend this area, he has to create a new project. I think it would be good to digitize a new area in the same project, and the project extends. This is something that could be done. I think there is already a tab in the project editing where it is meant that it's not available at that time. We have to work on cache to improve performance. I think we should do more stress testing. Saturday morning, I think the tasking manager crashed because there were too many people at the same time on the tasking manager. Trajan helped and got the server up again, but this is something that we should work on to prevent the tasking manager from not being available. There's also improvements to be done on usability, and I think there is an internship which is proposed for this summer, and if there's an intern who works on this, maybe there will be something great done on the UI this summer. Also, I know someone asked if it was possible to get users help in the instructions translations. So he or she wanted a system that allows contributors not only to map, but also to help translate the instructions, which is great, I think. There's no roadmap, actually. So this is why I don't know what's the future of the task manager. Maybe we should discuss about it.
Set up a task to map.
Sorry?
Set up a task in the tasking manager to create a roadmap.
I would like to thank some of the contributors. There are many more than that. Those who help in the code. You can go to the list on GitHub and you will see who contributed to this. Please note that even creating an issue in a tasking in GitHub is a way to contribute. I'm trying to answer as much as I can. And it's open source, so you can contribute. The code is on GitHub, and feel free to help. So I think I'm proud of what the tasking manager is. I've heard a lot of people talking about the tasking manager, so this is why I'm proud. And if it doesn't work, I'm sorry. I think that's it, and now it's. Do you have any questions?
I have a question. I know there's no roadmap, but with 6,000 new people in the last 2 weeks or whatever, what do you think the challenges are if that kind of, if that sustains itself, not to that extent, but new people coming in?
So I don't think there's 6,000 people connected at the same time.
No.
So I don't think there are a lot of improvements to be done on the performance. I think it works. Trajan told me that there were still caching issues, but I think it shouldn't crash that much.
No, so what I mean is the people are new to mapping.
Oh.
So what are the challenges in terms of the user experience?
I don't know. I'm not a project manager in the task manager. Actually, I'm not a mapper. I think I haven't done any mapping using the task manager myself. And I feel a bit ashamed about that.
Draft project.
And I would like to come to some mapathons to see how users are using the tasking manager. I think this is the thing I'm missing the most. I don't know how people are using the tasking manager, and I would really like to know more about that.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for your great effort for creating tasking manager. It's very great, and I want to propose to you, like, is it possible to create for admin, for example, to create for better category, like if they want to create a tasking manager, they want to put it into activation, or maybe put it for training purpose, or maybe for workshop purpose, or maybe for hackathon purpose.
Categories.
Yeah, categories.
This is something that was already suggested. I think someone told about tagging in the tasking manager to categorize the projects. So I think I remember that it was proposed in the internship this winter, but unfortunately we couldn't do that.
Honestly, there is a lot of good idea and suggestion, and just not enough coder and developer for all the things we want to do with the tasking manager. So, if more people want to use it, we need more developers.
How do you do your own task manager? How do I launch my own for my office or something?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
How do you launch your own? You saw there was other people who had their own. How do you start your own?
How do you start your own instance?
There are instructions in the GitHub page. It should be enough for you to create your own instance and to host it somewhere.
Have you considered containerizing it to make that simple? Like in a Docker, to make a Docker container or something?
This was proposed, I think, in the last tech working group meeting. It should be considered, yeah, to make it more easy to install. Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. Is there like an API, a way to externally mark a tile as done, or to ask a status like a?
There's an API, but it's only read-only. There are many challenges to ensure the authentications.
Yeah.
There's a wiki page showing what's currently available through the API, and also a page telling how we should code if we want to get this to a right thing, and if we want another application to write in the tasking manager telling this cell is done. There's something in the wiki, it's not available yet. You have read-only access to the tasks or projects list, but no write access for the moment.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, if there's a lot of talk about customizing the tasking manager, redeploying it and everything, I mean, the fact that already a good portion of it is exposed through an API means that customizing it can mean just building it into another site. And then obviously you have like complete customization over that site you're building, and it kind of becomes a hybrid approach. So yeah, the API, even though it's only partly finished, is great and really useful. And I think a lot of people are going to use it.
It's new.
It's new, yeah, but it's great. Yeah, seriously.
No more questions?
I just don't have a question, but I just want to say that when we started using at Peace Corps, when we started using Tasking Manager, it like completely took it from this sort of like chaotic, informal, not taken seriously thing to something that became very serious, and all of a sudden you've really got traction. And I think I really tie it to our use of the Tasking Manager. So I just want to say thank you for that, because it really made a huge difference for us.
You're welcome.
It's not